Hello, everyone. Welcome back to PopCultX. This is our Little Talk. It's our conversation series where we chat with a wide variety of creative-minded people. Today, we're thrilled to be joined by actor Sarah Impey, who is a very talented actor, actress, and who I don't want to say discovered, but who I came across on a fabulous, fantastic show that I mentioned in our most recent episode called We Are Lady Parts. Sarah, welcome to
Hi.
PopCultX.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so good to be here.
And I did, like I said, I came across We Are Lady Parts, and I know you've done more. I was looking at your resume. I was kind of like digitally stalking you in a way.
It's the way. It's there for everyone. Go ahead.
But it seems like to me that was like, at least that's the only thing I've watched you in. So I'm just going to, when we speak about your acting as a career, actually, let's talk about your career. How did you get started in acting? Is this something that you've always wanted to do, that you've always found interesting?
Definitely. Like, I think for the first couple of years, I wanted to be a vet, because I say up to the age of like 11, because there was a TV show called Vet Practice on in the UK. And so everyone wanted to be a vet. And I somehow didn't realize it was actually like the point of being on TV or acting. That was what I loved about it. I think I realized you had to deal with spiders, and that for me is just a no-go, and I got really scared. But I did like a youth theatre project when I was 11 that my friend really wanted to do. And she was like, "Oh, you're quite extroverted. Will you come with me?" And I went to do it with her, and she hated it and became a marine biologist. And I, from that point, was just obsessed with acting. It was just such an amazing way to express myself. Like, it was so wonderful to kind of get into the mind of these characters and be able to use my imagination to draw people in. And it was just so wonderful how people experienced the plays that we were in, even from young. So it was beautiful. And then, did the whole, I went to drama school. I went to this drama school called Arts Ed in Chiswick in London, and did 3 years there. And then did a theatre for about 10 years. And I did I feel like those first 3 years of professional acting, I said yes to everything. You know, you're just like, this is such an amazing opportunity. So I rural toured the UK, I nationally toured the UK, I internationally toured around America and Germany, and then was knackered and hadn't seen any of my friends for like months, and so decided to try and work actually just in the UK. And then We Are Lady Parts is the first TV job I got to do. And so that was just so incredible. Like, it was really lucky. You don't often get to walk into such an incredible part and character and company. And since then, it's been really nice. Like, we've been trying to kind of stay in TV and do episodes here and there. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I saw that you also have, I think it's called Vera.
Vera, yeah.
Vera,
long-running detective series.
Very cool.
It's got some staple fans, Vera. And I play the forensic pathologist, and I'm the first woman to play it.
Oh, nice.
Because they go for 13 years.
Okay.
So first woman and woman of color. So
very cool. That is really cool. That's exciting. Yeah. That is awesome. You mentioned you did a lot of stage and theater. That's my background as well.
Nice.
One of my bucket list was always to play Hamlet on Broadway or somewhere big. I don't know if I'll ever get to that, but it looks like you did a lot of Shakespearean stuff. How is that for you?
Yeah, I loved it. I feel like I did about 4 years back to back of Shakespeare.
Nice.
And actually got to act with the RSC, which was like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
In terms of Shakespeare acting. But it was really nice because they were kind of doing a very different thing and involving technology in the form of an avatar.
Okay.
Yeah, because we did The Tempest. So Ariel was a real person, but motion captured as an avatar.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but I think it brought up a lot of things in the fact that, like, we don't want technology to take away from the live performance element of it. So I think people just wanted to actually watch the actor moving.
Oh, okay.
Like and especially technology, like the avatar sometimes didn't work because processors aren't strong enough. So sometimes you were meant to be looking at this giant form, and instead it had zoomed in on the belly button. And like everyone had to be really scared of this giant belly button. It's like, okay, it's not quite right. But yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. The language is still so accessible, and people keep doing it in such different ways that I think, yeah, it's a wonderful thing to behold. Still, Hamlet, still, you know.
Yeah,
The Tempest,
most definitely.
all of them. Yeah.
That's very cool. I mean, that brings up an interesting point about technology, and especially with the whole big debate and AI and everything we're in the forefront right now. Do you have any thoughts on that? Is that anything you can get into?
Yeah, I mean, I get it has its place, and we're obviously always evolving and moving forward, and there are some benefits to it, but I still wholeheartedly believe it could never replace the deepness of a real performance. And it is terrifying. It is actually terrifying that they might want to try and capture your likeness.
Yeah.
And then put you in anything. I think, have you watched the latest Black Mirror?
I have not yet watched it.
You get it in the States. You do.
Yes.
I think, yeah. But there's a particular episode that focuses on the fact that like someone has given their likeness over and is trying to sue the company because they made them do something very awful. Yeah. You'd just be so out of control. And the whole point of performing is performing. Like, even if someone's to write you the most ridiculous check and you just get to sit at home, I don't know, your creative purpose is then demolished. It's like,
I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, yes, the money's fine, but it's the whole creative release that we get as performers, I think, is what really makes us want to keep doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw an AI version on YouTube, like a horror film.
Okay.
And they just completely let AI write it. And it was the funniest thing ever because it doesn't understand the meaning of suspense or, you know, some things. So it would just be like, oh, no, he's dead. but how? Oh, I feel like so much context is missing. What are you doing? But it was very funny. Maybe it can write comedies.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned if we got stuff here in the US, and it's interesting that you say that because Lady Parts came out in the UK in 2021. We just barely got it here this year. I think a couple months ago. Yes. That's how come I happened upon it. Yeah. So I didn't realize it when I was watching it that it came out 2 years ago. So
whoa. So I thought it wasn't that long. I thought it came out very quickly on Peacock, but no.
Maybe it did, but I hadn't seen it. And I watch Peacock not often, but enough to know when new stuff is there. And I just barely saw it a couple months ago. And when I saw the premise of it, it instantly hooked me. I was like, a female-led Muslim punk rock band.
Yeah.
That is just so awesome. I mean, I love listening to music. Punk rock music is one of those genres that I enjoy. And just hearing that and imagining before I even watch the show, how much representation can be just within that description.
Yeah, completely.
So with that in mind, how important was it for you when you got that role to make sure that you were able to bring that representation, to bring the people of color, to bring the female and also the Muslim aspects of it into the show?
Yeah, it was so important right from the beginning because we'd never even seen anything written like it before. So to see these complex characters and being asked to bring so much of yourself to a role, whereas we'd, theatre roles or whatever, maybe theatre roles, but no TV had asked me to be anything other than the person of color or the best friend or with menial tasks. But this was like, whoa, okay. And Nida, who wrote and directed it, and her family are Muslim, are really deep in their culture. And for her as well, she was being asked to write the same old things of terrorist wife, suicide bomber. Like and she just didn't want that for her people anymore. And she wanted people who looked like us to be experienced in joy. Yes, in complexity and deepness, but mainly in joy. So we had deep discussions. She had a massive writer's room as well, with loads of other Muslim women and men, and
that's awesome.
To understand where everyone sat in their comfortability as well, to do with the show.
Yeah.
And then we workshopped loads of things. If there was anything we were unsure about or we didn't know how people would take it, we'd consider that. But they did a blap of it, which is like a comedy short, in 2018. And actually the response from that was quite negative. So I think she worried in developing it. But then over that 2 years, I think society became a little bit more understanding or a little bit more aware that terrorists don't always look like that, or, they're not actually terrorists. So it's like, So in that time, it meant that the show was actually seen by people who wanted to be represented, who were really calling for it. And I mean, there'll always be, if you're not pissing someone off, then you're not doing it right. Not everyone's gonna love it. But the representation was so important, and the feedback we've got, like, people will DM you and just be like, I've never been on screen, and you put me on screen, and that's I feel awesome. Like you really understand where I'm coming from, and really beautiful.
That's really, so it is almost like art imitating life, or life imitating art, because in the show, Lady Parts, the band, does get that sort of negative pushback at first. And I won't spoil the rest of it. You guys go watch it if you haven't seen it yet, so you know what happens. So it's curious. It's really cool to see that she wrote that into the show as well.
Yeah, exactly. Nida is so good at doing that. So we've just, I can say this, we've just finished filming the second series. So we wrapped about 2 weeks ago. Awesome. Which probably now means that you won't get it until 2025. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was so long. I'm so sorry. But now, you can build it up. People can now watch the first series, but maybe wait a little while and watch it close to 2025. But really boost the numbers around then. Exactly. Oh God, what was I talking about? My brain.
Just wrapped up season 2.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. And so the things that have happened between the time that we filmed the first one and the second one, Nida's also put some of that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Even like how fans have reacted and things. So she's kind of made it was about us, but it's about the band. It's just so clever. Really, really clever.
That's really cool. Now, I will be remiss if I didn't ask this. Do you do all the musical performances? The guitar playing, the singing, is that all you?
That's all me.
And the bandmates?
And the band. But we're taught, none of us played, if I'm right. No, Ange played acoustic guitar.
Okay.
But no one else played their instruments before we started. So Shez Manzoor, who is Nida's brother, him, their older sister and Nida wrote all the music.
Oh, nice.
And he taught us all the music. So basically, we know how to play the song, but we play to a track. But we are playing it, but we're playing it to a track. And then all the vocals are live.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Which is nice. So we can kind of concentrate. But when we filmed this first series, because of COVID, we were going to film in March, and then it got pushed back to August. So we had 4 months with our guitars and drums. And so I actually practiced in the dark so that I didn't have to look at my hands and I could sing without.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Playing. Yeah. But for the second series, we didn't have any of that time. So it's been so much harder, and the songs are harder. They're amazing, they're amazing songs. But so hopefully we still give off the same kind of calm collectiveness of the band. But
I think that's what kind of made it, is the rawness of it as well. That it seems like, and it's just like, because when you think of punk music, it's not very refined. It's in your face. It's rock. It's just, and that's what I loved about the band songs and what Nida wrote, because they're just very, very raw and very emotional and very from the perspective of the performers. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and I like how she's written in songs coming out of moments. There's a few of that in the second series as well. It's like, that's really hard to achieve, I think, in because it's not a musical, we don't just start suddenly singing, but it sparks an idea and then you write a song.
Right.
And I think it's really nice. It still feels a bit like messy and organic.
That's cool.
It's not just like, and now we sing. It should be weird.
Well,
although sometimes we do just sing.
Yeah, why not? That's very cool. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it won't be 2 years.
I really
it
hope
might be, but maybe that's why they released season 1 now to, build up for season 2 to come out shortly or whenever it finished editing and post-production.
Got my fingers crossed that it will be, soon.
Well, besides acting, I also saw on your Instagram that you are a Reiki, am I saying that right? And sound facilitator. I've always been curious as to what that means.
Yeah, so I studied, basically, I was going through a really difficult time in my life. One of those things, it's a breakup time. It's trying to find yourself. You're lost in a moment. And so I was trying everything, and I went to a gong bath. They call them many different things: sound bath, gong bath, sound healing session. And I know it's one of those things. It was like a life-changing thing. I thought I would be thinking all the time about what instrument they're playing and what is that sound and how does it work. And I swear to you, I just disappeared. I went into this, I'm quite a visual person anyway, so I was just seeing all these things that were obviously coming from my subconscious, and I felt like I sorted so much out in my mind in that 1 hour in that session. It's like I saw scenarios and could look at it and say, could I have done that any differently, or should I have, and then kind of forgave it and let it go. So obviously it was a huge tool for me. So I was like, if I can provide this for anyone else, I'd really love to learn how to facilitate. And then during COVID again, it was the only time suddenly I had the time to study. So it's a bit different because we were in lockdown. So I had to buy all my gongs and singing bowls, and we did 8-hour sessions at the weekend. So I came out of it really like, whoo, okay. But we studied so much about vibration and about different frequencies and their effect on the body. So I learned so much during that time. And now I have held group sessions and one-to-ones. But it's interesting because I feel like when you study something, sometimes you can take it away from being a tool from yourself, because I now think about it so technically. And which is fine, because I can provide, I still provide that experience for other people. I'm just thinking about it technically.
Right.
But then maybe when I go to sound healing sessions, I'm like, oh, right, oh yeah, and they've moved, and they're playing it like, that's really interesting. Yeah. So, brain, just...
You're supposed to stop, brain. Come on.
Yeah, subconscious, where are you? Come to me. It's just like watching films, it's always the same. It's whatever profession you do. If you see someone in a film or on stage playing your profession, you think way more about it.
Yeah.
If you're an actor, you watch anyone and you're like, ooh, like what a choice.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. When I watch movies or films now, and I'm like, ooh, interesting director's choice. Why did they choose to do that? Instead of just enjoying and being in the moment, I'm like, I don't want to say breaking down their shot list or anything, but I'm like, looking at, okay, why'd they choose that over this? But then I just have to tell myself, okay, stop, just enjoy what they put out there, because this was their creative decisions. Yeah.
Exactly. And again, it's our opinions and all of that, but it's normally towards the end, in the final cut. Like me and my partner, who's also an actor, will just be waiting, and I'll go, should have cut there. And then there'll be a different, no, should have cut there. Yeah. And then it goes on and on. You're like, okay, well, whatever opinion. You should have cut there.
We get 5 different endings, but that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all
good. Well, we are a pop culture show. So I always like to ask our guests what you're currently watching or reading or listening to that you can share with us.
Oh, yeah. I am watching, so I'm really late to the party, but I'm watching Succession.
Okay.
I'm so late, and I know this.
I haven't watched it yet. So
you haven't watched it?
No.
You're really late, don't you?
Yeah, I'm late.
So late to the party. No, and everyone was talking about the different episodes and this happens and this happens, and I was just like, no. And actually it is genius. Like, I do watch a lot of those scenes and I can't understand how they filmed that.
Okay.
Just because of the way the language is used and how fast paced, and there's nowhere to cut, and I'm just, and just the character choices is
okay.
they're so good.
So
I'm watching that. I'm reading 2 books at the moment. Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, which is really interesting. I think a big part of my life on this earth, this time or however many times, is to detach. I'm very attached, and I need to detach.
I got you.
And just be able to let things go. And Think Like a Monk is, monks do that.
Yeah,
they're very honest about it. They can't always detach, but they give you lots of good tools to kind of do that. And I notice people tell me it's a bit cheeky. Well, not cheeky, but Sarah J. Maas. You heard of Sarah J. Maas?
I have not.
Massive, like, fantasy novel writer.
Okay.
Kind of in the ilk of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. That's kind of like my genre that I love to read.
I can't remember what the title is. Oh, House of Earth and Blood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but look at this book. Like, it's huge.
Wow, look at that.
It's huge. And I'm here. So I'm really impressed because for ages I couldn't read 3 pages without falling asleep. It's really like, am I a 70-year-old woman? Like, what's going on? But I've got that far, so I'm well happy about that. But I think my friend was saying that not that it's a cult, but that some people do sometimes consider Sarah J. Maas readers to be in a cult, but I'm not.
Interesting. Okay, I'll have to look her up. That's really cool. There's a fantasy writer that I enjoy reading who's also from the UK. His name is David Gemmell, and I have like all of his books. So if you like that genre, I recommend him highly. He's really good. I enjoy his take on like the anti-hero, which is kind of like probably my favorite storyline.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I just think it's so good to disappear into a book.
Yeah, definitely. And
again, flex the imagination, isn't it, on different.
Yep. We don't need any other director to tell us what to see because we're watching it all in here.
Exactly. And it hasn't been made into a film. And I'm like, okay, this is safe territory. Let me just until maybe I want to suggest it becoming a film, and then hey.
There you go.
Yeah, always looking for ideas. It's very complicated though, so I don't know if it would fly.
Well, hey, maybe get AI to like make it a screenplay for you or something.
I'll just put it into chatbot. See what happens. No, I will not. I still haven't used it yet. I'm not going to do it. Never.
You shall resist. Yeah.
I'll try. Yeah, please.
Well, very cool. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for taking some time today to chat with me. I appreciate it very much. And I am looking forward to season 2 of We Are Lady Parts. Do you have anything else that you want to promote, or maybe anything else that's coming out?
What else is coming out? Again, I mean, I don't think you get Vera in. Oh, maybe you do, though.
I might. I'm going to look for that tonight.
I think you do. But yeah, we've got a Christmas special of Vera coming out on Boxing Day. And then there's another series of it that we filmed this year that will come out next year.
Very cool.
I'm also in an episode of this American series that's coming out called Dinner with the Parents. But we shot it a long time ago. The whole series has not come out, so hopefully that will come out at some point.
One last question. How do you deal with that as an actor or a creative person when you do something and then it's so long before it's released? How do you manage that? Because I know for me it's hard.
Yeah, mainly you have to also more know what you're allowed to say and what you're not. Mm-hmm. And whether you're allowed to talk about it, because I love chatting. I love chatting about everything. So it's like, it's really hard, because also sometimes that job would then push you into other things, or allow people to see you and know that you're about and relevant, but you're not working now. So it can be hard because you're waiting for that next stage to kick in. Mm-hmm. Because you can't write to people and be like, oh, by the way, I'm in this thing that's coming out. Never.
Right.
Yeah. Here's a still from when I was on set. Here's
my proof. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So it is hard. I mean, obviously with theatre, you never get that. So it's been such a different experience.
Because it's like the instant gratification there of the audience and in the, yeah.
And that, and the fact that when it comes out, sometimes you actually forget. Like, so we do a lot of press, obviously, around when it comes out. And people ask you questions and it's been months and you're like, what's my character like? Yeah, I think it's like this. Or you might have done so many different things in between that you then have to come back to it. So yeah, it can be quite wild.
Okay.
But also sometimes it's really nice because you might not be doing anything and suddenly the rush of
there you go
it all comes back. But we, especially the girls in We Are Lady Parts, like any excuse to just hang out.
Yeah.
So we love when it comes out because it just means another round of like going to interviews and like having dinner together.
Awesome.
It's really nice. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, if people wanted to follow your journey, where's the best social media platform for them to do that?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. Never post, but I'm on Twitter. Sarah K Impey, and my Instagram is Sarah Camila Impey.
Okay.
Just on Instagram. And I post lots of things on there about the journey and things from set and stuff. So it's quite nice to have a little looky.
It is. You can go digitally stalk Sarah on her Instagram and
everyone's
be like
welcome.
Me. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe find out some things I don't know. That'd be... that actually exists, you know, like after the first series and you look up, there's like a wiki.
Okay.
Thing that I think anyone can put. And I looked on there just after and it said I was worth something like £3.2 billion. I was like, can someone please tell my bank? Because I didn't know. I just
forgot that fact.
Do you know what I mean? Like, where's that 3.2? By the way, I'm not. For everyone on here, I'm really not. But I want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt.
So don't believe everything you read. But on the Instagram, it's as real as Instagram is, isn't it?
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Sarah, thank you again. Appreciate it. And like I said, we're huge fans in my house of the show and of your work, and looking forward to more of what you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Everyone from listening as well.